Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are celebrating the appearance day of Srila Gaurakshara Bhagavaji Maharaj and Happy Ekadashi as well. So we will talk today a little bit about this great soul. First we will chant pranam mantra to his lotus feet. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambhode Panam Bhujaya Te Namaha. Translation of this pranam mantra to Sri Gaura Kishora Babaji. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Gaurakishora Dasa Babaji Maharaj, the spiritual master of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who is renunciation personified, who is renunciation personified. He's always merged in a feeling of separation and intense love of Krishna. So till today, we hear a lot of details about unbelievable austerities that Hiranyakashipu performed in order to achieve success and humongous empowerment. But let's hear today about someone who is opposite to Hiranyakashipu, someone who is very saintly, great ascetic, very dedicated devotee of the Lord. So Srila Gorakshara Babaji he appeared in 1838. So this means that like sometime 198 years ago. He spent almost 30 years as a householder looking after his wife and family. After his wife died, he gave up his business as a grain merchant and approached Bhagavad Das Babaji, a disciple of Srila Jagannath Dasa Babaji, for Babaji initiation. For the next 30 years, Srila Gaurakishora Das Babaji traveled from village to village in Vrindavan, continually worshipping the Lord. He lived by begging and slept under trees. He would lie prostrate and offering his humble obeisances to the residents of Vraj, considering them as embodiments of Lord Krishna. He even offered his obeisances to the flowers, trees, and land around him. Srila Gaurakishora later moved to the Navadvip where he was to spend the rest of his life, moving from village to village. He would consider these villages to be none different from Vrindavan. He would dress himself in the discarded cloth used to dress corpses, beg rice from householders, and cook with discarded earthen pots. He would dance on the banks of the Ganges, chanting the holy names of Krishna, and other times he would lie on the ground unconscious. Srila Gaurachura had very few possessions. He has tulsi beads around his neck and tulsi mala, japa beads, which he chanted. And a few books such as Shriranarattamadas Thakura's Pranathana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika, full of different songs glorifying the Supreme Lord. Srila Gaura Kishora Babaji Maharaj refused service from anyone and would not let anyone serve him, though many tried. Although illiterate, he was vastly learned and self-realized. Many people would consult Srila Gaurakishora, but he was able to detect and reveal sincerity and detect and deceit in people. He showed neither distrust for enemies nor affection for those dear to him. Srila Gaurakishora was surrendered by many insincere devotees, but never encouraged them nor drove them away. Srila Gaurakishora would often visit Shivananda Kunj, a place within Gondrudvipa, one of the 9 islands of Navadvip, where he would listen to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur speak on Srimad Bhagavatam and other topics concerning the conclusions of devotional service. Babaji Maharaj would often visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur and discuss the transcendental topics of Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, nothing the faultless behavior, noting the faultless behavior of Srila Gaurakishora Das Babaji, held him in the utmost regard and admiration. In 1900, Srila Gaurakishora accepted Bhaktivinoda's son, Bimal Prasad, as his disciple. He gave him the name Varshabhanavi Devi Daitya Das, who later became known as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the founder of Gaudiya Math. So I will stop reading now and just give a little bit few comments on this topic. How Srila Gaurakishora Babaji Das Maharaj was so renowned. His asceticism was resembling Raghunath Das Goswami Maharaj, especially with his eating habit. He ate very little. He was performing this how we call this Madhuraka. Anyway, this begging from door to door to different householders, and was taking very little rice. Sometimes he has no time because he was totally absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord and chanting the holy name of the Lord, that he has no time for going from home to home begging for a little bit rice to eat. So therefore, he was eating some mud from Ganges and then water from Ganges. When he was in Vrindavan, he was taking a little bit mud of Radhakund and drank water. In this way, he was able to sustain himself. Of course, we cannot imitate such saintly person because his consciousness is completely in different dimension. He was treating his body or he was maintaining his body like multi-billionaire is taking care of his suit. So could you imagine the consciousness of multi-billionaire who has some love for himself? He doesn't care about his club. He can buy one after another. It's just like for him, it's just so unimportant, so like that he's not paying attention. He's just wearing this glove, some fancy glove, but he's not very much attached to just, to get some spot or to be careful to not get some to not turn it down or something. He is completely detached because he is aware that in any second he can buy many other fancy clubs. So this type of detachment and not very big thinking is not very big deal to have some love. As Gaura Kishore Babaji, he was treating this bodies as some type of dress and was paying very little attention to maintain this dress that we call body. But because his consciousness was on a completely different level, it was very high level. So therefore, his maintenance of his body was in a way that it is beyond our comprehension in our conditioned life. So therefore, it is recommended to never trying to imitate such great souls. So due to being, because he understood the principle of spiritual existence, he wanted to associate with spiritual existence, spiritual reality. Therefore, he decided to disassociate himself from material existence, from material reality. So therefore, he was paying very little attention to this body. He was just only using this body to glorify the Supreme Lord. He was completely absorbed in chanting the 200,000 holy names of the Lord, which is somewhat around 128 rounds daily. As we hear, he was illiterate, but he was vastly learned. He's a very big spiritual scholar. He was able to elaborate and explain very, very complex spiritual subjects. Many people were coming for consultation to him. So how he was able to obtain knowledge and he was illiterate? The holy name of the Lord is Lord himself. Such saintly person like Gaurakishora Babaji Maharaj, by full absorption in chanting the holy name of the Lord, he was hosting the Supreme Lord on the lotus Vyasasana of his heart. So he has direct association with Supreme Lord, who is the source of all knowledge. So when someone like Gaurakishora Babaji pay attention to chant and listen the glories of the Supreme Lord, then naturally he putting himself in a very different reality of spiritual existence. Like my Guru Maharaj used to say that, and he wished to that not anyone will slacken his chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. However, we can experience that as soon as we slacken our our attention to chant properly and listen attentively the holy name of the Lord, then naturally we start to see illusion as normal. And as soon as we sharpen our chanting and hearing of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, immediately we start to see that material existence, illusory material existence, is being temporary and full of misery, is faking us. And we understand in this moment that we are chasing like phantasmagoria, chasing some happiness, some fulfillment, satisfaction, some peace of mind. It's just like phantasmagoria, like phantom. Like we like we hear many times that someone who is too long on the desert, he sees some hallucinations, see the desert, the sand of the desert, see some beautiful lakes full of lotus flowers, which is utopia, it's illusion, phantasmagoria. So similarly, those who are not paying attention to glorify the Supreme Lord perfectly, or at least with sincere attention. So then they start to see phantasmagoria, beautiful lake full of lotuses on the desert of the sand of the desert. So they start to see illusion and treat illusion as normal, like this person who is suffering hallucination seeing this beautiful lake full of lotuses on the sand of the desert, he is fully convinced that this is lake. So he's jumping to this lake, but he's experiencing nothing else like just on the sand. So similarly, conditioned soul being completely immersed in this desert of material existence, treating this as a real, uh, is just experiencing disappointment, frustration, anger, violence, and so many other different things that are coming from this disappointment. So therefore, what is the solution? Solution is to follow such saintly persons like Gaurakishara Babaji, who was who understood fully that this material body is just only a dress that is that is is, is wrapping the real owner spirit soul. And since we are eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, having possession of being eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, we should engage our body, our full existence, all our senses, mind, and intelligence in loving service to the Supreme Lord. And it starts with chanting the holy name of the Lord. So therefore, such persons like Srila Gaurakishara Babaji being perfect example of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Even illiterate was not able to read so many books as we are able to read. Still, he has perfect understanding of spiritual conclusion and was able to elaborate very complex subjects, spiritual subjects. And he was able to discuss spiritual subjects with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Of course, at the same time, having such spiritual enlightenment because of the pure chanting of the holy name of the Lord, having association of the Supreme Lord directly, he was still very, very humble, extremely humble. As we hear, he was not on the he thought himself about that he is not on the position of accepting any type of service from others. And others, noticing that saintly character and behavior of Gaurakishara Babaji, as is typical for Indian people in India, especially as this is worthy also to mention that India, Bharatvarsha, is a very special place. To the special place, and just taking birth in this special place, taking birth only very pious souls who have some natural inclinations to spirituality. Of course, there is nowadays, due to so many different sinful activities, even in India, there is a lot of confusion what is what, but still, this natural tendency, these spiritual inclinations are there, just so natural for these people over there to such an extent that when they see saintly person, they immediately have this behavior, this attitude, this habit, just to jump to lotus feet of the saintly person and beg for some mercy. Of course, because these conditioned souls, they are, although they are very pious and have natural spiritual inclination, they still are very conditioned souls, and due to lack of spiritual education, they have tendency to beg for something that they shouldn't. They beg for some material boons, some material benefits. But Srila Gaura Kishara Babaji, having very modest understanding about himself, being very humble, he was not very um, he was not very much into exposing his saintly uh, status quo, and he was protecting his feet to touched by all these conditioned souls. If someone was clever enough to touch his, he was very like he was exhibiting transcendental anger, like you're going to curse the person. You are doomed. So he was very dissatisfied. So he was very always keeping very low profile. He don't want to be annoyed by this materialistic uh, people and want to save his time for for the glorification of the Supreme Lord. To such an extent, to not be bothered by these conditioned souls, he was hiding himself in the filthy places that all others will not come. He was closing himself in some toilet where smell was not very um, not very nice, not very pleasing, knowing that ordinary people will not come there. And in this way, he will have time for his full chanting of the Supreme Lord. This also indicates his deep spiritual understanding. He don't want to be distracted by any material circumstances. He just want to use any situation to glorify the Supreme Lord. This also indicates that not material circumstances uh, dictate the the practices of spiritual life. So, because his austerity, his asceticism is beyond our imagination, so this means that we cannot imitate him. We can just only follow certain aspects of his saintly behavior, like for instance, paying attention to proper chanting the holy name of the Lord, and very attentive listening, because in this way we can purify our heart, our consciousness, our existence. We can purify our mind and make it submissive to us. We can control our mind, we can control our senses, which is extremely essential in performing devotional service. And we should know that also material circumstances have no like influence to our performance of devotional service. Devotional service is transcendental to any material circumstances. So this means that we can perform devotional service anytime, everywhere. So coming back to reading biography of Srila Babaji. In 1900, Srila Agora Kishore Babaji met son of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bimal Prasad, whom his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, ordered to accept Srila Gaura Kishore Babaji as his Diksha Guru. But out of his humility and also vow that he made Gaura Kishore Babaji, he don't want to accept any disciple. But being ordered by his noble father, Bimal Prasad, later on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, was begging quite many times Srila Gaura Kishara Babaji for being accepted as his disciple. And every time when he was trying to beg Gaura Kishara Babaji, Babaji was refusing. Like for instance, in the beginning, when Bimal Prasad approached uh, Gaura Kishara Babaji, uh, Gaura Kishara Babaji mentioned, let me ask Lord Chaitanya about this. Okay, so then Bimal Prasad went back home. And the next time when he came, next day, he again requested Gaura Kishara Babaji for accepting him to become his disciple. And Gaura Kishara replied, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to ask Lord Chaitanya. I will ask very soon." So it was back and forth in this way. Finally, when Bhima Prasad was coming back to home and Bhaktivinoda Thakur asking him, did you ask Gaura Kishora Babaji to accept you as disciple? Yes, I did, but he is constantly looking for some excuses and is not accepting me. Okay, Bhima, this time you need to go and beg him sincerely to become his disciple. Otherwise, don't come back to home. So then Bimal Prasad was praying to the Supreme Lord for being empowered to melt heart of Gaudakshara Babaji somehow or another that he can accept him as disciple. So it happened that they were crossing, Gaudakshara Babaji was crossing the big bridge over the Ganges and Bhima Prasad was walking on this bridge and met Gorakshara Babaji there. So, and this time with full conviction and determination, he requested Gorakshara Babaji, please, my life has no value if you will not accept me as your disciple. Please accept me as your disciple. Then Gorakshara Babaji again was looking for some excuses to say no. And then Bhima Prasad interrupted, because if you will not accept me today as your disciple, I'm going to jump off out of this bridge and finish my life, because life is not worthy for me to live if you are not merciful to me. But since, as we read from this biography, Srila Shanabhagi being very pure, having pure consciousness, naturally his senses were able to detect sincerity and determination of Gaura Vishnu of Bhimala Prasad. So this time he was not willing to reject, because he knew that if he will refuse, Bhimal Prasad will jump off. So out of respect for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, with whom he has very close relationship, and and purity and purity of and genuineness of Bhima Prasad, he accepted him, and he was only disciple of Shri Thakurji. So then he gave him this name. Varsha Bhavanavi Devi Daitya Das. Later on, he became Shabbat Saraswati. So another incident happened in 1908. Shla Gorakshara Babaji Maharaj lost his sight. But I remember there's no reference here that in this biography that I'm reading, but I remember from some lecture or somewhere I got this information that Shilagora Kishora Babaji, when he lost his sight, he decided to go from Vrindavan, travel to Mayapur, to Navadvip. Could you imagine? This is quite long distance, but he decided to travel there because Jagannath, because he got an injunction in the heart from Lord Krishna to go there. So being blind, he was traveled there. Bhakti, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was there in Navadvip. He has vowed of chanting many, many rounds for purification and when anyway he was a disciple of Srila Krishna Bhakti, such great ascetic, so therefore he decided to perform such asceticism for purification. So he was there. And when he saw Srila Krishna Bhakti arrived to Navadvip, he was surprised. How was possible for you to travel so? And Gaura Krishna Bhakti responded, it was not a big deal. Krishna was guiding him. So we can see that pure devotee of the Lord, he's functioning in completely different dimension. Although from the external point of view, we can see that, he has one head, two legs, two hands, one stomach. So it looks like us. So we can sometimes commit humongous mistake that, oh, this pure devotee is not different than me. I'm very similar. No, this is humongous mistake, and this is offense to compare ourselves to pure devotee. Why? Because our consciousness is polluted by material concept of life, identification with this body that we are not. Whereas pure devotee, which this term indicates, is pure. His consciousness is completely pure. He's out of this bodily concept of life that we are immersed in. He has he developed pure Krishna consciousness. So this means that he has direct connection with Krishna. So therefore he operates in completely different dimension, completely different platform. So therefore he's able to hear guidance of the Supreme Lord and function in a Krishna conscious way and give proper instructions to his disciples. So it happened that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, being surprised by presence of his Guru Maharaj and health condition, he suggested, Guru Maharaj, maybe I can bring you to Calcutta and you can visit some doctor, and he can bring your vision back. And Gauranga Babaji replied, never! I will never go to material world and accept any service for anyone. So Srila Gauranga Babaji just indicates that he was completely fulfilled and satisfied by immersing himself in the glorifying Supreme Lord, and he don't want to any distraction and disruption of his samadhi, his complete immersion, absorption in chanting the holy name. And finally, after 77 years in his body, transcendental body, on November 17, 1915, Gaura Kishoradas Babaji Maharaj passed away. His body was placed into a samadhi tomb, but due to flooding, the samadhi had to be moved. Many Babajis tried to claim the samadhi, but were told by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I'm the only disciple of Paramahamsa Babaji Maharaj. Even though I have not accepted sannyas, I am a celibate brahmachari, and by the grace of Babaji Maharaj, I am not sacredly addicted to abominable habits or involved in fornication as some monkey-like people are. if there is someone amongst the people here present who is a renunciant of stainless character, then he can have Babaji Maharaj Samadhi. We have no objection to that. He who, he who within the last year or the last 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, or at least within the last 3 days has not had any connection with a woman will be able to touch the spiritual blissful body. If anyone else touches, it will be completely ruined. A police inspector who was present asked Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, how will evidence be kept for this? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati replied, I have faith in their word. And this one by one, all the bogus Babaji slipped away. And at this, one by one, all the bogus Babaji slipped away without a word. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati then climbed and claimed Samadhi. Srila Gaura Kishore Babaji ki jai. Are there any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you so much. Those a lot of details I was not aware of. First of all, I didn't know that correction he was a husband at one point. I have a question, no question, request. Would you remind us about this pastime, how Gorakshara Babaji discovered the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya?
It was Jagannath Babaji.
Jagannath.
On the instruction of Jagannath Babaji, Gaura Kishora Babaji was staying in Navadvip to the end of his life. I don't know what is that problem now.
Could you explain, since Gorakshara Babaji is one of the spiritual masters in our specific session, where we put emphasis on preaching mission, spreading Krishna's glories, and he was drawing himself and being absorbed in his own sweet relationship with Krishna. Could you explain a little bit more about what means Babaji and how this particular attitude fits into our sampradaya preaching mode?
Yeah, there are Babajis who are immersing themselves in one place for the sake of being absorbed in the glorification of Supreme Lord. So on the basis of this type of devotional service, we distinguish two types of devotees. Bhajananandis, like Gauravishwara Babaji was Bhajananandi, and Goshtananandi. Bhajananandi, they are dedicated to staying in one place and be absorbed in the glorification of Supreme. They chant the holy name all day long. So for us Westerners, where blood is quite fiery, it will be very difficult to do this. Some devotees during Srila Prabhupada time, they were trying, to imitate Bhajananandis, able to do this for a long time. So therefore Srila Prabhupada told every disciple, don't imitate great devotees, great Vaishnavas, especially Bhajananandis. Try to spread Krishna's glories wherever you go, follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction. So this indicates that we are in the category not Bhajanam, but Kirtanam. Those who going from place to place and spread Krishna's glories. Of course, at the same time, we, by our own action and behavior, we teach and also explain the glories of Krishna consciousness. So, shortly speaking, Bhaktananandi and Bhajananandi, they are devotees of Krishna, glorifying the Supreme Lord, but in different style. One is stationary and another is uh, in motion. What is the program?
But I'm sure because we have, we actually, we'll see, we should do actually check up and before we do it.
No. Sure. Shila Gaura Kishora Babaji ki jai.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.